At first glance, Tommy's Matchbook didn't really seem like an effective weapon to me. It's not something I was really excited about, and I saw the perk and I was like, well, that kind of just seems like a big gimmick. What didn't exactly help this was that Soros Regime was kind of my auto rifle pick, and there was a lot of hype for the 600 RPM autos at the very start of the season. However, when I was leveling and doing all the power level grinding for Trials before the first weekend, I decided to put on Tommy's Matchbook in PvE just to have some fun with it and try it out, and I immediately noticed something very, very strong about the weapon. And I really wish I could have talked about it sooner, but this got me really excited and very interested in the Tommy's Matchbook. I tested it a little bit more afterwards, and I could definitely say that this is the best feature of the Tommy's Matchbook, despite it not at all mentioning any little bit of this on the weapon's exotic perks. The hidden trait or perk, whatever you want to call it, of the Tommy's Matchbook is that its hipfire accuracy stays nearly perfect at any point in firing the weapon, and shooting the weapon at the hip has the same performance in accuracy and aim assist, as it would seem, as you would get from aiming down your sights. We can see this by comparing the crosshairs while firing the weapon from the hip to the aim down sights reticle in the Garden of Salvation raid while we're tethered, because we can be aim down sights while in third person and see the reticle that is of course representative of our ADS state of the weapon. To understand this fully though, we do have to quickly go over auto rifle crosshairs and what they mean. Now there's no of course definitive proof of this, but based on our knowledge of the hand cannon crosshairs, myself, Cool Guy, Fallout, Mercules, and more have kind of come to the very educated assumption that this is what the auto rifle crosshairs mean. In this case, unlike the hand cannon's crosshairs, the circular portion of the auto rifle crosshairs is what tells us the accuracy, or is representative of the accuracy cone. The lines on the crosshair in this case are representative of the aim assist and perhaps range as well of the auto rifle. The lines on the crosshairs tighten while ADS, we assume because of the way zoom is multiplicative on the aim assist cone. That is how we believe it works, and how the crosshairs are telling us information on the weapon's different aim assist and accuracy cone. Of course, using this knowledge on how to read the crosshairs on an auto rifle, it supports the fact that Tommy's Matchbook, of course, looking at the circular portion always being very tight, has very, very good hipfire accuracy, pretty much from what we can tell 1-to-1 with ADS, and better than most other auto rifles. The aim assist, as believed to be told by the lines of the crosshair, appear to decrease slightly when the ignition trigger perk overheat is active though. It's also worth mentioning that the Tommy's Matchbook has nearly no recoil when firing from the hip, despite having a lower stability stat than some other auto rifles, such as for example Perseverance, which has a perk called Dynamic Sway Reduction that appears to maintain accuracy pretty well at the hip, but the recoil is still very uncontrollable and doesn't really compare at all to the consistency to that of the Tommy's Matchbook recoil at the hip. The Matchbook also maintains very good inner accuracy and seems to have somewhat of a built-in Icarus mod when firing from the hip. It looks as though it might have potentially better inner accuracy than a typical auto rifle with an Icarus mod, mainly when firing consistently over time, but it does still have a little bit of an accuracy loss. It seems like the cone does expand a little bit, ever so slightly, and loses that bit of accuracy in the air once the overheat trait activates. Tommy's Matchbook also has a top tier aim assist stat of 81 that's only outclassed by that of Hardlight. Keep in mind though, accuracy and aim assist go hand in hand. Higher accuracy means that your bullets have better odds of being aim assisted, since they have less area where they can deviate to over range. A higher aim assist stat gives you a better overall area in which your bullets will be aim assisted if they fire within that. So Tommy's Matchbook, with a combination of high aim assist and higher accuracy at the hip, means your bullets will be sticking to and following targets, and probably their heads, so long as your crosshairs are generally on target. So this means that the last word has definitely met its match. Tommy's Matchbook is another hipfire-centric weapon, probably the last word of auto rifles, if you will, that can achieve some crazy damage buffs and maintain better accuracy without needing to land shots on target, like of course the last word's fanfire, and it has fantastic inner accuracy, somewhat unlike the last word, although that is debatable as a hand cannon, and of course a magazine size that doesn't penalize you in any way for missing shots, which is going to be less pressure on you and more ease of use overall, which of course leads to more versatility and consistency. Of course though, the last word does have some pretty insane benefits: bonus accuracy that rewards you for hitting shots, and an insane potential time to kill and fewer overall shots needed to be landed, as well as higher damage per shot. But Tommy's Matchbook does give it a run for its money with the benefits I mentioned of it. being more forgiving, especially towards a playstyle that wants to be highly mobile and always accurate. Not to mention, Tommy's Matchbook is of the 720 RPM rapid fire auto sub-archetype, which gives it a very fitting and competitive time to kill. This is a 0.77 second optimal time to kill with 9 crit, 1 body, and a 1.17 second base time to kill with 15 body shots. And in a more average scenario, let's say you hit 6 crit, 6 body, you're going to get roughly a 0.92 second kind of average time to kill. So this is actually a relatively competitive time to kill with the 600 RPM archetype, 0.7 optimal, and you can expect a lot of headshots to connect really easily, given the fact that the aim assist stat of the Matchbook is very competitive and only again beaten out by hard light. The base or body shot time to kill is actually slightly faster than that of the 600 RPMs as well, which is nice. So now that we've gone over the Tommy's Matchbook hidden functionality and what makes it actually really worth using and unique in my opinion, I thought we'd just quickly go over some of the other stuff. So let's start with stats. Of course, this is a 720 RPM auto, gives it 18 impact, 58 range, which is pretty good, and 59 stability, so a really nice combination of range and stability. 62 handling, again to complement that. 10 reload speed, so not the greatest reload, but you have a massive mag, so honestly that doesn't really matter. 64 recoil direction, which isn't fantastic, but that's mainly only going to affect you while ADS, and if you're using this weapon, I suggest using it from the hip the majority of the time, so again, doesn't matter too much. And of course, that top tier aim assist stat of 81. Let's talk quickly about the ignition trigger perk. So this is the exotic perk that says sustain fire with this weapon overheats it, increasing damage but burning the user. So let's talk about the damage increase. So this damage does get ramped up to 31 on a headshot, 21 on a body shot. So in shots to kill, it would take 5 crit to body roughly, and that gives it a 0.5 second optimal time to kill. The base time to kill would just be about the same as its optimal time to kill without the buff, which I believe, as I said, about 0.77 seconds. So of course, with the overheat active and you're getting that damage buff, your shields are going to take damage. They are going to decrease, but the damage is of course increased while you're in aim down sight, so you take less damage to your shields while you're hip firing with the damage buff. Your health though, which is the red portion of the top shield bar, does not get damaged by the overheat. So once you're in your health portion, you're not going to be taking damage when you have the overheat active. The Matchbook Catalyst increases the speed that you regain health after taking external damage while the overheat is active though. So again, if you are in the red portion, which is your health, with the overheat active and you get shot, you are going to start regenerating what appears to be pretty much nearly immediately. I think this damage increase is really unique, and I think it's best used in 2 scenarios, either pre-firing where you know or anticipate that someone's going to rush you with something like a shotgun, or in another scenario just after you get a single kill. Keep the trigger held down if you think there's another target that's going to be pushing you as well, and you can try and get an easy second kill or just chain kills afterwards, since you are most likely going to be weak going into your next gunfight anyways if there was multiple people on you. I don't think it's worth just holding down the trigger with this and trying to fight people, because even just a little bit of health being taken off is going to be a massive advantage for something like a high DPS weapon like hand cannons, which happen to be really the worst enemy of an auto rifle. So you don't want to give hand cannons any easier way to get to their optimal time to kill, or like give them less critical shots. Auto rifles really thrive off of when a hand cannon user does not hit that optimal time to kill, or they are experiencing damage drop off. So again, don't want to give them any more benefit. Just use the auto rifle normally against hand cannons unless you're in one of the scenarios that I mentioned. So again, I think that this is a pretty unique and exciting weapon now that I've learned about its hipfire functionality and the playstyle that it lets you have, which I think is really valuable. Some of the benefits of having consistent and reliable hipfire is having, of course, to start your radar open all the time, which I don't really have to explain the benefits of. You also have increased movement speed, or rather your movement speed is not hindered in any way, so you get more evasiveness and strafe speed in gunfights, so it's going to be harder for your opponent to track you. You have faster movement speed to play in between cover or pieces of cover. You have easier tracking on the target through character movement, and you just have a wider range of movement abilities and techs that aren't nearly as predictable as an average gunfight. Being able to double jump or even just a single short hop mid gunfight and maintain accuracy, slide around corners into a jump and maintain accuracy, create a gap maybe against shotguns, or play really weird angles. It gives you a lot to play with, and it's a lot of fun. fun. Of course, when jumping around, your weapon doesn't bob everywhere and you can't see your sights or get inaccurate like that as well when firing from the hip, which also allows you to just feel so much more consistent and versatile when making those types of movements. As well as when you're hip firing, you have a wider field of view than you would when in ADS and a faster relative sensitivity, so you have quicker ability to just snap between targets without having to move your crosshairs as significantly. So this means, you don't have to deal with a slower travel time for controller when ADS, or on M&K just deal with having to use so much mouse map space or range of motion to snap between targets. You're also just able to clearly see more things present around you and track things going on easier without any feeling of tunnel vision at all. Again, I think this functionality really makes Tommy's Matchbook really fun to use and amazing. It's great with a shotgun and a sniper. I think with a sniper, it can give you really that last word style effect. Tommy's Matchbook and Revoker could be a really strong combo together. That's all I got for you guys on the Tommy's Matchbook though. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you'd like to see more content like this, you can check me out on Twitch. I've been streaming so much recently, especially with Trials around, so it's twitch.tv/Drewskys. The link is in the description. I hope to see you there. As always though guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.